Rolling Stones Keith Richard $11 million Connecticut Mansion Tour and Lifestyle 2023.
Your sense of proportion, I suppose. And I told you I'd outlive you.
We all grew up listening to Rolling Stones and Keith Richards. The people with rock and roll lifestyle made our childhood great. So in today's video, we will be looking into the life and success story of Keith Richard. But before starting, make sure that you press the bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we upload a video. Also, do not forget to leave a like. Let's get started. Keith Richards is an internationally recognized iconic figure in contemporary culture and popular music as a singer, guitar player, songsmith, film actor, and public figure. He was suggested 10th topmost guitarist of all time by Rolling Stone magazine and was tagged to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989 as launching member of the fabulous rock band The Rolling Monuments, together with his song-jotting mate, Mick Jagger. He wrote and recorded hundreds of songs, including their monster hit Satisfaction, one of the defining songs of the period. He was born on December 18, 1943, in Dartford, Kent, England, UK. Keith Richards met Mick Jagger when he attended primary academe during the 1950s, albeit when they went into secondary seminaries, they'd lost touch for a while. But one day in 1960, they accidentally met on a train and talked about starting up a band. Eventually, Richards and Jagger made their dream come true. They established one of the most fabulous lifelong two-smith alliances, following the illustration of John Lennon and Paul McCartney's songwriting for the Beatles. Besides their main success in popular music and entertainment, Richards and Jagger had carried on their early image of unkempt and surly youth that multitudinous others would emulate, and spread their influence across traditional boundaries of stripes and styles in movie making, art, fashion, and contemporary life, thus turning Jagger and Richards into cross-artistic trendsetters. Since the Rolling Monuments were formed in 1962, Richards and Jagger were continuously absorbing from multitudinous musical styles and assimilated various stripes and artistic influences, ultimately creating their truly own inimitable style. Together, they endured transformation from semi-amateur original musicians to the leading international stars. Both Richards and Jagger came billboys for spare. Still, they had survived ups and downs in their careers and particular lives, and remained the core of the band. Firstly, they shared a flat with the late Brian Jones in London. In 1962, the first lineup of the Monuments comported of Mick Jagger on Supereminent song and harmonica, Keith Richards on guitar, Bill Wyman on bass, Charlie Watts on barrels, and Brian Jones on guitar. In 1964, they released their first anthology named The Rolling Monuments. In 1965, Richards and Jagger wrote their single, The Last Time. That came their first #1 mega hit in the UK. Also came Satisfaction, 1965, which was composed by Keith Richards in his sleep. And with the addition of provocative lyrics by Mick Jagger, it came the topmost mega hit and their calling card on each and every show. Well, that was enough of Keith Richards' early life and childhood and career. Now let's quickly have a look at his lifestyle and health. Keith Richards has slowly bid farewell to various vices over the times, and these days, the rocker whose hard partying ways is the stuff of legend has indeed quit smoking. Keith Richards has slowly bid farewell to various vices over the times, and these days, the rocker whose hard partying ways is the stuff of legend has indeed quit smoking. Richards developed on his rejuvenated performance on the podcast, saying he realized he started receiving a lot farther air in the lungs and in the voice, and a better stamina. Richards has long been known for his gems tone rock and roll life, and indeed formerly famously claimed he strangled his own fathers as he's mixed with cocaine. The British star remonstrated his heroin habit in 1978 and stopped doing cocaine in 2006. Keith also mentioned that he takes a truly balanced diet. He includes further raw vegetables and fruits in his diet. Also, he exercises regularly to maintain that exertion. Keith Richards' health was a bit difficult in his early days, But what's good is that he quitted all the bad habits that was putting his health on stake. But Keith's relationships has been better than any other celebrity in Hollywood. Keith is known for long-term romance and relationships. So let's quickly have a look at his love life and his relationship. Keith Richards is married to former model and actress Patty Hansen. They were married in 1983 on Richards' 40th birthday and remain wedded to this day. It was the only time Richards has been married, despite being in a relationship with style icon and it girl Anita Pallenberg between 1967 and 1979. Keith Richards had 2 children, Marlon Leon Sundeep Richards and Dandelion Angela Richards, with Anita Pallenberg. He also has 2 daughters with Hansen, Theodora Dupree Richards and Alexandra Nicole Richards. When Richards was in a relationship with Anita Pallenberg, they plaintively lost their young daughter, Tara Jo Gunn, after 2 months to unlooked-for-child death pattern. After Richards and Pallenberg resoluteness in 1979, they remained on good terms and continued to peacefully co-parent their children together. Richards also has 5 grandchildren, 3 from his son Marlon, including Ella Richards, picture over, and 2 from his son Angela. While there's no distrustfulness that Richards' story is one steeped in the trappings of rock and roll, including fat drug use and raucous partying, when it comes to his particular life, Richards seems suddenly old-fashioned. Currently, he is very happy in his life. He is a proud grandfather and a father. I think we discussed too much about his personal life. Now let's quickly have a look at his assets and net worth. So, what is Keith Richards' net worth, and how did he make his fortune? Richards has $520 million to his name, and it is not hard to see how he made his fortune when you take into account both his long career as a member of the Rolling Monuments, as well as his solo career. Keith Richards, of Rolling Stone fame, loved his Ferrari so much that he could not part with it. And when you are talking about a bus that dates back to the 70s and demanded transport from the US to Richards' home in England, it was a largely valued bus for him. While other celebrities trade het for newer, hastily, and bigger lifts, Keith Richards proves he is nearly an anomaly as much as the bus he'd kept for so long. Richards also has a truly emotional property portfolio, recently dealing his Manhattan extension for $11 million. Richards still is not one to flip his houses for a quick buck. In fact, the rocker still owns his ignominious Redlands cottage that he bought back in 1966 for £5,000 and was the point of a drugs bust and a fire. Richards and his woman, Patty, also enjoy a Connecticut estate where they brought up their daughters. The house was bought in 1985 and is 85,000 square feet on 8 acres with a sluice and a lake. Richards has a collection of roughly 1,000 guitars. He owns multiple parcels, including Redlands, a Sussex estate he bought in 1966 for £6,000. Actress Cate Blanchett bought a near property in the East Sussex area for $468 million. Richards owns a home in Weston, Connecticut, which is his primary roof, and a property on the private resort island Pantominist Cay in the Turks and Caicos Islands, Keith Richard Connecticut Mansion. The home, which he bought in 1985, is one of Fairfield County's most notorious homes. The book tells us that it's an 85,000 square bottom mansion set on 8 acres with sluice and lake views. Also, Richards set up a vast library and indeed considered professional training to manage the thousands of books that he would acquired over the times, writes Simon Spence, Intelligencer, who contributed the chapter on Richards. His woman is a former supermodel and actress who last time was the subject of another print-driven book. Patty Hansen, A Depiction Harry, and Abrams. A lot of the other 200 archival prints and rock stars at home depict more wacky and decadent places, and their pools, planes, music apartments, and playgrounds. So that's all for today's video. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you get notified as soon as we upload a video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in next one.